so we finally decided to get back to the Fairlane, and a big reasoning behind it is I've been working on a lot of other vehicles and stuff, and I drive my 2011 Mustangs, but there's just nothing like being behind the wheel of a 60s muscle car. And I go to car shows and I'm always the guy that says, oh yeah, I've got my 66 at home, and I pull up in a new to me 2011. You know, they're like 11 years old now, but they're still new, and this is where I belong though. So I'm done being the guy that's got it at home. I'm gonna get out there. It's not gonna be perfect, but I'm gonna be the guy daily driving this car. So, yep, we took this out of the F100 again. This engine has played like hot potato in between the cars. But it is not coming out of here, knock on wood. So we got it in, and we've been doing a lot of the stuff that we needed to do. Like the accessories weren't fully mocked up, so we got those good. The radiator we have being installed. I'm doing the same system I did on the F100. This is the same radiator that was in the F100. It's for a SN95 1994 to 04 Mustang. And you can see the transmission cooler and the supercharger cooler we have all built in. It fits, and it'll be hidden nice behind the grill. And we cut the Fairlane's opening here so it'll fit. So plenty of airflow and it won't be blocked. Originally there's like 6 inches or more of steel that would have been here, and it's actually a small opening for the car originally, but this is better. And a huge problem we took like 1 step forward and then like 2 steps back actually. So we got this on, and this hit the Hydro Boost. We switched this from the Fox body brake booster that we were running to a Hydro Boost out of a 99 to 04 Mustang, and this hit it. So we had to take it out. So we now no longer have brakes, but I was talking to, or one of my friends called me, and he thinks we'll be able to make a piece that goes in here and turn this plenum more and try to get this, because it hits the cylinder, and then I could probably move the reservoir or build some brackets to just relocate it over and just make more room. So, but that we're fighting that now. I did not like the way the transmission tunnel was. The 6R80 actually hit it in one spot, and I wasn't okay with that. So I completely cut it out and lifted it up about 3 inches. So it has plenty of clearance, and if you look in the car, it looks stock. No one will ever know. And then we put butyl mat all on the transmission tunnel for insulation and heat, to keep heat out. And then I think it's a 1/2 inch insulation over the whole floorboards of the car, and then the carpet on top, which has insulation where your feet go on driver and passenger. So the car is fully insulated. This will be a daily. I don't want any heat. Like, I don't want the heat coming out of the floorboards or firewall or transmission tunnel. I want it to be very comfortable, and I want power brakes. I don't want manual brakes. This is a daily driver. I want you to be able to hop in, start it up, don't even think about it. Drive to work at 6 a.m. or wherever you're going. Well, it'll be me, but yeah. All right, so for the interior here, I ordered this a couple years back. It's brand new carpet, and these were blue seats, and we did the vinyl dye. So the vinyl dye is actually amazing. This has stood the test of time. I've had a lot of people sitting in it, and it doesn't crack. So this was originally blue, so it's nice. And the gauges, if you have a Fairlane, they have that speedometer that's like a big brick, and it barely moves over it. I think it's kind of ugly, but if you like it, that's fine. But me, I did this. So I used a piece of plastic. This plastic was a splitter off a Honda Civic that I was working on. The guy didn't want it, so he threw it. Just was like, I'll throw it in the trash. So it's a huge piece of plastic that's like a 1/4 inch thick. So I kept it for who knows what. But it used perfect for this. And it's a little off now, but this gauge, the RPM gauge goes there, the tach. And I did water, volts for my battery, oil pressure. I got my speedometer here, tach here, and then I put a boost gauge in way back when I was running the 302 that was bored out to a 306, and it was just a vacuum gauge then, but now it works perfect. And then we have our fuel gauge over here, and this looked sweet. Oh my gosh, and check it out. I quit driving, the car broke at 222.2 miles. 4 2s in a row, that's strange. What does that mean? The trip was at 221.4. Huh. So that's what we got going in here. I also did this headliner. This is like one of the first headliners I did. It's not perfect, but it's perfect for me. And we still have blue door panels. But one thing about this car, like I've been building this thing since I was, I think, 16. I got it in like a garage barn in Illinois. We got it for $2,500. And the seats in it, it had a bench seat, and we put 1966 Mustang bucket seats on top of 2014 Mustang brackets. So like this goes on the side of it for the passenger. The passenger one is manual, but the driver's is fully automatic, so it has tilt, forward, back, and up, down. So it is totally nice, so you're not stuck with one thing. So I'm trying to make this thing with creature comforts. And we got the wiring here for the Coyote, the OBD2 port. We gotta take care of some more stuff. But this thing is coming along. I can show you the stuff I was talking about. Here's the carpet see, it just has minor insulation. And then we have this insulation, which is this material on both sides for, I think that's for heat. And then we have the butyl mat on the transmission and drive shaft tunnel all the way up, and then on the firewall too. So trying to keep out as much heat and noise the best that we can, something like this. But more work to come. I can show you the trunk. All right, so this might be controversial. Some of you might not like it, but that's all right. We went and watched Ford vs. Ferrari when it first came out, and I saw it in theaters, and it got me so amped up. I was like, this is the best movie ever. And I went home and I drilled holes in my trunk and I put this spoiler on it. Why? I don't know, but to me it looks awesome. And I'm gonna redo it. This is the mock-up. This is that same splitter I was talking about. It was on that Honda Civic, and it was the only thing I had that was wide enough and thick enough. But this is the kind of look I'm going. Later, I think I might replace it with steel or maybe a better piece. But I think it looks pretty cool, and I got these rods on it. I don't know. It's kind of a mix, but we ended up putting the battery in the trunk. And when I was in high school, I had that Cougar I've talked about before, that with the 32 valve swap. And my battery was in the trunk. And I went to Battle of the High School. So we're all high school kids. And they would not let me race because my battery was in my trunk. And it was high school kid cars. Like, I don't know. And they said since I didn't have a switch to shut my battery off on the outside of my car, I could not race it. So for the Fairlane, I did that. I ordered this, and I drilled a hole in the perfect unrusted part of the car. And I put this switch in it, so that is, I believe, on, and if you pull this, it's off. I'll look in a second, so let's open this up. So it's full of parts now, but you can kind of see what I've been working with. I have a Sniper nitrous system that we're running on the 302 setup, and it's empty now, and I will not be running it on this engine, but I'm gonna leave it in there because it looks totally awesome. And here's the Hydro Boost I was telling you about. You can kind of see how it works. It uses your power steering pump to assist your brakes. And then here you can see how I was doing my fuel system. So I put this in, I cut a hole in my Fairlane's tank, and I made this, and this is a inner tube, the gasket for a tire. And I'm using a SN95 fuel pump for a Mustang. So if the fuel pump goes out, I can go and buy one. And I'm buying a new pump for, I think it's a 95 Mustang. I forget the exact year. They changed them at some point, but it's a 340 liter per hour, which translates, I don't know how many gallons. But they said that should be good for the supercharger, the Roush. And here is the battery setup. Can't really see, I got a bunch of junk in the way. So anyway, here's the switch. So my positive just goes into it, and then it goes to the starter and the rest of the car. So the battery mounts there. Just enough to clear up engine bay room, and now we need every bit of space that we can get in the engine bay because it barely fits. We even pushed the engine back, I believe it was 6 inches than stock, and it still is just not, there's not enough room. But alright, so I hope that was some good info on the car. I know a lot of you wanted to know a better introduction. I know we have one video out about the car, but this is just a better introduction, and some of you do know the entire suspension under this car is out of a 1995 Mustang Cobra. You can see the shock towers and everything. And the rear end is also the triangular 4-link, and it has a panhard bar out of an SN95 Mustang. This is basically an SN95 Mustang with a Fairlane body on it. But hopefully that gives you a good insight. We'll do more videos, and hopefully I can get the car higher in the air and show you some of the underneath. And we'll definitely get into it more. I'm trying to get this thing going and by June. So that's my goal, is I want this drivable by June. We're running into a lot of problems that are pretty major, like the brakes thing. That's tough, and the cooling system and reservoirs and whatnot. I don't want it to look like crap, but I also don't really care if it is temporary for now. But alright, well I hope this answered some questions and gave you a better insight of the car and kind of what's been done. I know you don't see too many Fairlanes. I know they're actually out there and they're a bit popular, but there's not a whole lot of them that are transformed away from stock to a pretty large extent. So hope you guys enjoy, and if you're interested in Fairlanes, I do have that 67 Fairlane, which is sitting on top of a 2014 Mustang chassis that we body swapped as well, with full interior as well. It's out back. We're probably not touching that for, I don't actually know when. There's so many cars in front of it. But alright, thanks for watching, and like I said, I hope this was pretty cool. So, catch you next time.